So we're revisiting our EDC competition from a year ago. Pretty much the same course, but with high-end knives. It'll be really exciting to see what they can do.
So this year, we're not going twice around, but we have upped the ante with harder cutting tasks for these higher-end EDCs.
I know we have better knives, better steels, but we have that really hard kryptonite packing tape from last year. It's gonna be tough no matter what knife you have.
So even though Mark won last year, it's been a year. I've learned a lot. I have a higher-end EDC. I think Mark's gonna walk away pretty disappointed in himself.
I actually like both the knives that Jaron and I are using today, so it's really gonna come down to user error on his part, and of course, I'm pretty confident he's gonna user error.
Hey Blade HQ, Jaron and Mark here, and it is competition time.
We're actually gonna go back in time to last year's EDC competition, but this time we're up in the ante. We're gonna use high-end EDCs. So I'll be driving the Benchmade 940.
And I'll be using the Viper Odino.
Well, let's head out to the course and see what the stages are. Stage 1 has 2 phases. You'll be putting the pocket knife in and out of your pocket 3 times without a glove and then 3 times with a glove. Has to be done one-handed.
Every EDC is used to cut cardboard. So in stage 2, we'll be using it to cut 5 cuts in 1 sheet of cardboard.
Then it's on to stage 3, where there are 3 sets of cordage. First, 550 paracord. You have to make 3 clean cuts. Then it's on to some extreme heavy-duty paracord, again 3 cuts. Lastly, it's a heavy-duty rope. You need to cut through cleanly once.
In stage 4, we'll be putting our knife tips to the test by cutting through 31 layers of tape stacked on top of juice boxes so we know when we've pierced through. We'll be starting with clear packing tape, moving on to duct tape, and finishing with heavy-duty packing tape.
Next, we'll be moving on to some precision cutting in stage 5, where there are 5 black lines in different shapes that must be cut inside the black boundary.
In stage 6, we're gonna have ourselves a little party. We're gonna slash through 7 balloons without poking them.
The last stage is stage 7, where we'll be doing a little Iron Chef. We have celery, carrots, and corn on the cob. The celery needs to be cut twice, the carrots need to be cut twice, and then 1 cut through each of the corn on the cobs.
Finally, you'll run back, stop the time, and end the competition.
All right, so that is our beefed up course. Let's head out there and see what our high-end EDCs can do.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. So I started the clock, and I knew with the access lock that it would be really easy to open the knife. So instead of using a thumb stud, I just went ahead, pushed down on the access lock, flicked it open, back and forth, in and out of the pocket. 1, 2, 3. I knew with the glove, rather than using the thumb stud, I would use the access lock again to flick it open, just like I'd done without the glove. It's pretty easy. I think at one point, my palm caught the edge and so it didn't pop open. But really the access lock is a really nice mechanism for one-handed opening.
So stage 1, in and out of the pocket, nice and easy. It's a deep carry. I've got Levi's on this year, so it was easy to pull that out, open it up, use the frame lock to close it up. 3 times, bada boom, I was done. Just put the glove on. At first I thought it was gonna be a little more difficult, but pulled it out of my pocket with the glove, still was able to access that thumb hole, flip it open, close it with the frame lock. Nice and easy.
Closing it the last time with the glove, got the glove off, ran to the next stage, which was cutting boxes, a task that you'd use with any EDC. The nice long blade with the 940 allowed me to take long, easy cuts. I was able to slice through the cardboard. I love the skinny, long profile of this knife blade. Sliced right through the cardboard, no problem.
So I finished it up with the in and out of the pocket section, went right onto the cardboard. That knife sliced right through the cardboard well. I got a little hung up with my own errors there. I was pushing so hard it started to bend. I also got caught up on the bottom of the knife past the grind edge. That's a little difficult to cut with, but able to fix that, and the knife still performed well. I just made a few mistakes. So next stage, paracord. That first one was easy, cut right through it like butter. The next one, same thing. That edge is great. Then moved on to the rope. I got caught up a little bit. Started with a wide loop and was kind of slashing at it. That wasn't working too well, so I choked up on it, tightened the rope up and started to do some smaller sawing movements, and I was able to cut right through with that technique.
So I made my 5 cuts with the cardboard, and then it was on to the paracord. So the first paracord was just the standard 550. That was no problem. I think any EDC, no matter what price range you should have, should be able to tackle that, and that was the case. Then I went on to the little bit stronger. You could feel the resistance. I mean, even just bending that heavy duty paracord, but still not a big issue.
This is my nemesis, the rope.
Then it was on to the heavy duty rope. That was an area last year that I struggled. I was a little bit concerned.
Oh!
But wow, that 940 blew my mind. I haven't used it on cord like that before. Just gripped down, made a small loop, and just started to saw, and it cut so fast through it. I was really surprised at how well it did. Really great edge, and that S30V steel is fantastic.
So I moved on to the juice boxes. The first one is the regular clear packing tape. Cut right through that. This knife has a bigger belly than it does a tip. It's not the best piercing knife, but it's great for cutting. So that's one thing that I had to keep in mind as I was going through this task. I rocked the knife with the belly a bit from the belly to the tip to cut through. I don't know if that was the best technique for it, but was able to cut through and then pierce through with the tip.
I forgot from last year how much I hated the juice boxes. That juice squirting up on you is absolutely disgusting. It gets on your hand, you can immediately feel how sticky it is. And of course, started out with the clear packing tape, punched right in, made the cut, didn't even feel like 30 pieces of tape. Wow. One of the other things that I really like on the 940 is that reverse Tonto tip. I knew it was going to be able to pierce well, very strong tip. It went through the duct tape reasonably easy. I think I had to make a couple little cuts to clean it up, but otherwise it actually performed very exceptional. Okay, the last tape was that heavy duty packing tape. Jaron and I both struggled with it last year. I knew even with the performance I was getting out of the 940 that was going to be hard. So rather than just punching in and trying to pierce, which I figured probably wouldn't happen, I'd probably end up just crushing the box. I went ahead and started to score it. Scored down, got some nice clean cuts. Even with that, it was still a struggle. I had to work my knife in at one stage, wiggle it a bit, saw down, try to punch in. It still was a superior knife. Took me a little bit. I figured I was going to struggle with that packing tape, but overall it made some really clean cuts and I got through it actually very quickly.
I think that's
Moving on to the kryptonite tape, I knew that was going to be difficult from last year. So I started with the tip and kind of scored it a little bit and then tried to rock with the belly and then score a little bit more. It started to stick to the knife. I think it started to pull the knife in a little bit. It was getting stuck up inside, it was getting gummy, especially when the juice started to come out. But I just kept going, kept slicing and slicing.
Tip moving the whole desk.
The bottom about 1/4 inch would not cut through, so I had to push through, slice through, I just had to struggle with it and keep going, make sure I could get that task done. Eventually, I got through it, the knife performed, and then I moved on to the next stage.
So once I finished up with the juice boxes, of course, my hand was covered in juice, the knife was covered in juice. I was thinking, I'm gonna have to clean that knife really good. Shook it off, get a nice flick of the wrist to get it off, and then I wiped it a little bit on my pants because I didn't want the moisture to affect my cut on the paper. Went in, made my first cut, and then I started with the S cut. The problem was at the end, I think I was too close to the original vertical cut, and that ripped the paper. So I knew I was gonna have to move on to the second sheet to do that. So quickly went on to the next couple shapes. There was like a C and then a zigzag. And rather than starting at the top and doing the zigzags, I tried to do each section and then go back and make the cross cuts. I think that really worked out. Once I finished up with that last vertical cut, I went to do the S. The paper was no problem, still was holding up a great edge, and I think with that S30V steel, it's going to continue to hold a great edge after a lot of use.
So moved on to the precision cuts. That first one, nice and easy. The next one was the S shape. I was almost through that one. I was pretty proud of myself because I was like, Mark had to redo it. I'm not gonna have to redo it. And then I got to the end and it tore out the bottom. So I had to redo it. Then I moved on to that straight line, finished it off there, had to redo that S1 in the next paper. Almost had the same situation happen. I reversed and cut backwards, opposite of what I was cutting before. Just had to slow down, take it easy, get the cuts in.
All right, so this year we went with just air balloons rather than hanging water balloons because it made a big mess and we didn't want anybody slipping. We did have to slice through them all rather than poke them. I wasn't able to get one clean strike. There was a few stragglers left, and that's because they were bouncing around. But it has a really nice edge, a couple extra slices to clean up the few remaining balloons. It's fun to hear them pop. It felt like a birthday. I was looking for cake.
So balloons, my first strategy was to just run by and cut it all. Didn't quite work. I think I was coming at the wrong angle. I think my knife was tilted down just a little bit, so when I was coming in contact with the balloon, it was more or less the side of the knife versus the tip of the knife. So I had to take a few swipes at it to make them all happen. I really wanted to poke them. First of all, that's more fun. Second of all, Mark told me I couldn't, so I had to just swipe. Did get them all done, but I really just wanted that one to make them all pop. Moved on to the vegetables, diced and sliced those. The last one, the carrot, wrapped around the other carrot. Didn't know what to do, so I just kind of hacked a little bit. Ended up cutting the rope. Then I moved on to the corn. I was a little afraid that the corn wasn't going to be too easy to cut through. I thought my blade was going to be a little shorter. Turns out, not an issue. Cut right through that. Put it in my pocket. Ran down, stopped the time. I feel pretty good about my time. We'll see how it ends up.
All right, so the last stage was the vegetable stage. Started out with the celery, a little fibrous, but some quick, clean slices. The big concern, I think, for Jaron and I were both the corn on the cob. It wasn't cooked corn, it was raw. I knew it was gonna be a little bit more dense, especially right in the center of the cob. Still no problem. Nice big blade on the 940, went through clean, popped it in my pocket as quick as I could, ran back, stopped the clock. I felt like I had an excellent time. Gonna be tough to beat.
So compared to last year, so much better. That high-end EDC cuts through every one of those tasks way better than those regular EDCs.
So throughout this competition, the knife I used was the Benchmade 940. I love the long profile of this knife. It gives you plenty of area to cut with, and again, a reverse Tonto tip, great for piercing. Got the great axis lock that allows for an easy one-hand deployment. It's a classy, elegant looking knife, high-performing knife. Fantastic, probably one of the best Benchmades that you can get.
I love my Viper Odino. It's got really smooth action on it. Easy axis frame lock. Is a deep carry. Got blue anodized titanium, carbon fiber, but it's a classy looking knife. Every time I pull this out of my pocket, I have at least one or two people asking about this knife. I recommend it to everybody.
All right, as you saw, we ran the course. Overall end times were Jaron 505, and I did it in 3:59.
Congratulations, Mark. That was a really good win.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a great course.
Now, this is a giveaway, so if you want a chance to win one of the high-end EDCs we used in the video today, check the description box for all the rules of entry.
Now, if you don't happen to win, you should definitely pick yourself up a great EDC. Check out the options we have here. Now, on a sad note, this is Jaron's last video with us. He's done a great job over the last year and a half, but he's moving on to a new position with a different company. We want to say thanks and wish him well.
Thanks, Mark. It's been great working with you. It's been great being on the channel. Hopefully I'll see you guys around.
All right, everybody, keep shopping Blade HQ and keep watching. We're gonna give this Odino a try, see how it stacks up. That's good. Ooh. It's like pinata for adults. I've always liked this one. Now that I've used it some, I definitely think it'll be one I pick up too.
test out the Benchmade, see how I like it. Butter. I like that. Much easier. I really like my Odino. I really like this knife. Performs well. I would totally add it to my collection.